yourself, see yourself, this is a show my people. Believe our hopes so to needless reason. Nobody feel left out, is the vibe we dealing. Let's find a solution. Yeah. No respect, unselfishness and cooperation. That's how we need to build a strong nation. We are the people to make the changes. We are the changes to WUB. And all the things that we feel happen and not got blue skies. And nothing that people get victimized. Let's work together for better. We got to unite. Belize, yeah. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Another day is here. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. We gotta keep moving. Na. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Everybody gotta put their time in. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Voice our opinion and place your calling. WUB. Get up, make every day count. Don't waste it, people. Do your part, play your role, get where you need to. Look and tune in for work or in your vehicle. If you got a problem, pick up the phone. Why wait till the time calling? It's the show with no matter even if you're at home. Just call in. WUB. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Another day is here. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. We gotta keep moving. Na. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Everybody gotta put their time in. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Voice our opinion and place your calling. WUB. Be yourself, see yourself, this is the show my people. Believe our hopes so to needless reason. Nobody feel left out, is the vibe we dealing. Let's find a solution. Yeah. No respect, unselfishness and cooperation. That's how we need to build a strong nation. We are the people to make the changes. We are the changes, WUB. And all the things that we feel happen and not got blue skies. And nothing that people get victimized. Let's work together for better, we got to unite. Belize, yeah. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Another day is here. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. We gotta keep moving. Na. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Everybody gotta put their time in. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Voice our opinion and place your calling. WUB. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize.
And welcome to Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes Talk Show. For this morning, Thursday, March 19, 2026, from behind the zinc fence, 3304 Amandala Drive in beautiful Southside Belize City. I'm Sister YaYa Marin Coleman, sitting in for Brother Nuri Mohammed this morning. Kinda chilly, but nice. And thank everybody who done tuning already. When no one could go to XTV Belize Facebook page, XTV Belize YouTube, and link with from now until 9 o'clock this morning with a simulcast on Crim Radio as well. You know the usual lineup. I'll have to read the weather forecast this morning from the National Meteorological Service of Belize, and then we're going to a first news brief this morning prepared by XTV Newsroom under the leadership of Maricela Meyer, our news director. So make I say, and I can put on the glasses and read this weather forecast. And so the general situation, mild and somewhat moist northerly airflow prevails. 24-hour forecast, variable cloudy with a few showers and periods of rain, of light rain mainly offshore and over the south this morning, with showers and rain decreasing this afternoon. Tonight, a few showers or periods of light rain are likely over the south. And I haven't done this in a while, but I think if I also give the marine conditions. Winds north-northeast 10 to 20 knots is gusty, sea state, moderate rough, waves 4 to 7 feet. Temperatures along the coast, 80 degrees Fahrenheit. And 27 degrees Celsius. Along the coast, 72 degrees Fahrenheit, 22 degrees Celsius. Inland, I know how to read this thing wrong, you know. Inland, 84 degrees Fahrenheit, 64 degrees along the coast. I didn't mess this up this morning. I never expect to read the weather forecast So weather shared are the temperatures inland, and the high at 84 degrees Fahrenheit and the low at 64 degrees Fahrenheit. In the hills, it's 70 degrees Fahrenheit. The low is 61 degrees Fahrenheit. Alerts and advisories. Small craft caution, occasionally gusty winds and rough seas, especially beyond the barrier reef. Instruction, operators of small crafts should exercise caution. Outlook for Friday and Friday night, mainly fair with only light isolated showers. High tides will be today at 10:04 a.m. Low tide at 4:38 p.m. There'll also be a high tide at 10:49 p.m. and tomorrow there'll be a low tide at 4:44 a.m. The sun rose at 5:57 this morning and will set at 6:03 this evening. The moon rose at 6:14 this morning and will set at 6:51 p.m. And that's our morning forecast. Patchy as it may have been this morning, going to forgive me from the National Meteorological Service of Belize. That was the general forecast. Look, also go to the space online and look and see what the weather forecast throughout the day. We're going to take one quick break and I'll come back with the news brief for this morning.
The first private radio in Belize since 1989. Creme FM presents the news. Informative, accurate, current information, local, regional, and international news, weather and sports. And now, the news. The first private radio in Belize.
The 2025-2026 northern sugar crop got off to an unusually quiet start, considering the lack of a commercial agreement between the miller, BSI, ASR, and Belize Sugarcane Farmers Association, BSCFA. It was actually BSI who announced the signing on January 7, 2026 of an addendum to the commercial agreement, paving the way for the crop start on January 19, 2026. But there was a lot simmering below the surface, and according to leaked documents, on December 19, 2025, Minister Osmond Martinez informed the association that BSI ASR was tying the resumption of multi-million-dollar annual fair trade premiums to the BSCFA dropping its related court claim against BSI ASR and the signing of an overly disadvantageous and punitive one-year contract or letter of enhanced agreement LOEA governing premiums for 2026-2027. Dropping the lawsuit would require BSCFA to forfeit an estimated 11 million Belize dollars in premiums earned and interest between 2021 to 2025. Now, events appear to be unfolding rapidly, and there is unease within the BSCFA, and we are told discontent with the leadership. Apart from the take it or leave it BSI ASR and Tate and Lie approach, a February 25, 2026 letter from the Prime Minister to the BSCFA also tied government assistance to, quote, dropping their claim in court, end quote. Yet yesterday, the PM denied this.
The claim government wants them to drop the case against BSI.
That's not for us to decide. That's a decision that they have to make. Has absolutely nothing to do with government.
What has government proposed to them? Has government proposed that they drop the case?
No, government has not proposed for them to drop the case. What the government has been saying is that it is their right if they want to go to court. But at the same time, what they have been doing is been spending all of this time losing money from fair trade and so forth to the detriment of its farmers. And it's a decision that they want to make if they want to continue with that or not.
According to the BSCFA, the government-led, quote, mitigation proposals, end quote, on accepting ASR terms have been significantly reduced. On December 19, 2025, the package totaled 1.75 million Belize dollars in fertilizer and operational cash flow support, with discussions of possibly $2 million Belize dollars for fertilizer and additional operational support in later years. By January 6, 2026, the value increased to 3.6 million Belize dollars over 3+ years. But on February 28, 2026, the offer shrunk to just 1.15 million Belize dollars, citing the non-receipt of fair trade premiums for 4 years. 12 of the 18 BSCFA directors have called for a special general meeting on Sunday, March 22, for the membership to vote on the PM's latest offer, contingent on dropping the lawsuit. The directors write, quote, "While the support offered is minimal, we can state for a fact that it is more than nothing and the field is in dire need of that support," end quote. The meeting has now been set, but non-signatories are questioning the haste since it is scheduled for a day before a planned meeting with BSCFA's attorney on Monday, March 23rd, to review the implications of the settlement agreement proposed by BSI, ASR, and Tate & Lye Sugars Limited, which includes the LOEA. In a legal opinion, the attorney warned that signing the documents would be detrimental to BSCFA. The proposed settlement is considered materially prejudicial to BSCFA, including shifting dispute resolution to London. Plus, Tate & Lye accepts no liability for past premiums, so that if it signs, the BSCFA would forfeit the earned premiums. BSCFA called this, quote, "unjust enrichment," end quote, and wrote on January 7, 2026 to the PM that, quote, "fair trade regulations governing sugarcane state expressly that in the absence of an agreement between the fair trade payer and the fair trade producers, the fair trade premiums are payable in proportion to the volume of sugarcane delivered by each fair trade certified producer," end quote. We received reports that individual cane farmers were not consulted, as they should have been, before the call for the March 22 special general meeting was issued. Yesterday, BSCFA's Committee of Management Chairman Salvador Martin told us he spoke to his members and he has, quote, "no comment at this time," end quote. Tate & Lye applied for the claim against it to be struck out, but this was dismissed at the High Court on July 4, 2025. The appeal is to be heard on March 30, 2026. Former Chairman Alfredo Ortega summarized the detrimental request.
To them for us to get fair trade premium for the following year. They want us to sign this proposal that they have sent to us, on which we forego the issue with the court, and with that, then we forego also for the 4 years that they have not paid us anything. That portion on which it's really hard for us, because as an organization, as an association, and as farmers, we have invested every year so that we can maintain the certification and so that we can comply with the standards of fair trade. So in this letter that they have sent to us, it's no beneficial to the farmers, because they're asking us to forego without granting us anything for those years that have passed without getting any premium.
For his part, the PM has moved to another cane farmers association friendly to the multinational, which is getting its fair trade premiums. Earlier this week, we reported on a March 12 notice by the Broadie's pharmacies that going forward, prescriptions will be required for prescription medication. It raised alarm for some members of the public who considered that the move will represent an increased financial burden for them, as well as time spent at public clinics. The Ministry of Health and Wellness indicated that it is not a new requirement. Yesterday, when we spoke with Samira Gongara, Senior Drug Inspector at the Pharmacy Unit of the Ministry, she told us that, in fact, they have always been enforcing the requirement, but recently introduced a new assessment tool that makes the work more equitable and transparent across pharmacies. She emphasized that treating with medication is serious, hence the need to require a prescription for everything that is not on the over-the-counter list.
Remember, medication is it's not like sweet. it's a it's one dose away. It's one dose for a treatment and a dose away as a poison. That's how the public should look at it. And if you have that medication available to you and you're not taking it properly or in the right dose at the right time, it can affect you adversely. So all the prescription items should or must be sold with a prescription only, because we don't know what situation people are in and what they might do at any time. So you have to make sure that you sell it in accordance with a prescription, even for as a pharmacist to cover themselves to make sure that it's being dispensed rationally.
Gongoro also emphasized that prescription meds would fall under the category of drugs for more serious ailments and not your regular flu or colds. This is the reason why, she says, there ought to be more control.
The over-the-counter list is for things that can be sold within a pharmacy, right? So it's pretty much just to treat minor illnesses. If it is that it gets worse, then you need to consult a doctor. So it's for a simple cough and cold. If it is that you see that symptoms persist more than 3 days, you need to consult the doctor. If it is that you have a pain or any other ailment that you're taking an over-the-counter, like let's say Tylenol, you're taking ibuprofen 200 milligrams, you're taking Aleve 220 milligrams, and it persists more than 2-3 days, then you surely need to consult a doctor, because we don't know if you're masking and the pain is actually a symptom to something greater.
What about Zoe? Because obviously you're thinking about trying to prevent abuse in the use of medication, but isn't it possible that people, let's say the pain meds, would purchase, I think for ibuprofen, you've gone from what available over the counter 800 mg, now it's 200, but people can actually purchase more 200 and consume to get the 800 benefit,
which would be to the detriment of your kidneys. So the pharmacist has an obligation to inform the patient that if it is that there's something called pill bearing, so if it's overbearing, if you're taking a huge amount of medication, it will affect your kidneys.
Gongoro spoke as well of accessibility to doctors within the public health system if someone cannot afford to go to the private sector.
Well, we have the government sector. I mean, we have the public health facilities that are available. We have 4 polyclinics in Belize City. We have one of them is actually an NHI provider. So if it is that you live in that area and the government is about to roll out NHI countrywide, where you can pay less for your diagnostic tests and for your medication. So we have the public health facilities that are available, ready and willing to allow you to consult a doctor, get your diagnostic test, and find out really what's happening in your body so that you could get the right help that you need. And also we have the prescription in the public sector as well, where you don't have to go and buy, and we have it available and you could access it there for free.
The mother of Emil Rivers, who was shot on January 24, 2025 in Independence, is suing the government on his behalf for damages for violation of his constitutional rights. In August last year, settlement was sought, but the state denied liability the following month. It is claimed in the suit that Rivers was unlawfully and forcibly detained without any reasonable suspicion and without him posing any real threat at the time. He was shot twice, once to the abdomen and to his upper back, while suffering an acute psychotic episode. His attorney Leslie Mendes cites in the claim that during his detention, he was subjected to inhumane conditions, including being forced to strip to his boxers, made to sleep on a cold cement floor, and denied medical care despite his known mental illness. The officers are accused of surrounding Rivers, pointing firearms at him and shouting expletives, actions that, quote, stigmatized, degenerated, and criminalized his mental illness, end quote. Additionally, the claim is that during his detention, he was kept handcuffed unnecessarily and his mother was prevented from being with him while under guard at the hospital. Constitutional rights cited include right to life, freedom from inhumane and degrading treatment, and right to personal liberty, among others. On Friday in Belmopan, during a public hearing of the Joint Public Accounts Committee, JPAC, at the National Assembly, Auditor General Maria Rodriguez highlighted the poor financial record-keeping practiced by several ministries of government. Rodriguez lamented that in certain cases, the employees in her office could not carry out audits or were unable to carry out accurate ones. She shared some of the issues experienced.
Unfortunately, once again, we were not able to receive complete and full details of the source documents for the transactions presented in the financial statements. In the report, I mentioned that we made our own attempt to go to these storerooms, because if you're saying you don't have it, then let's go and find out ourselves that you don't have it. And indeed, it was very difficult, a tedious process to obtain information from the Accountant General's storeroom for several reasons quoted in the report. But we also attempted to go to individual line ministries, which also posed difficulty in getting information to substantiate what was presented in the financial statement. Many instances, the executive says to my staff, I'm not available, or they simply don't respond, and then I don't have where to go. Where do I go to say they don't want to make themselves available? So I think that is very important to highlight at this point. Separate and distinct from the Parliament, the executive has to make themselves available to answer queries from the Office of the Auditor General. First and foremost, as parliamentarians, you do have governance overview of these ministries, and I believe it starts from you. So it will be good that from this end, going to Cabinet, informing them and informing their CEOs that this cannot happen again, because I'm going to continuously report if you're not making yourself available to me.
So just to highlight, because, and we will get to the fact that we're talking about a 10-year-old report, but is it then your position that I'm hearing that this remains an ongoing issue as you proceed with your auditing duties in terms of live issues?
It is an ongoing issue, and unfortunately, one of the root causes is improper handing over. The new people that are there will say, well, I wasn't here 10 years ago, I don't know anything about it, but it shouldn't be that way. The regulations give way for proper handing over. When someone leaves, somebody else needs to get proper handing over to know what they are receiving. You just don't take it on and you don't know what you're getting.
Rodriguez explained that figures are unable to be confirmed if proper records are not made available.
Yes. It's basically numbers that we cannot confirm, and as such, as Auditor General, I don't want to say everything is okay because we cannot confirm them. The lack of reconciliations, the lack of source documents. I might add that every transaction that is reported in the financial statement should come with a source document, because it's something that you reflect on SmartStream, which is the government system. Every transaction has to have a source document. So what I think is happening, or happened back then, is that they were posting, but did not have any intent of retaining the source document to show that they were what they were posting. Document, there's no way that you can guarantee what transpired really transpired. Typical examples, if when you go to make a simple purchase to any business, if you don't get an invoice back from that business to go and pay, you don't know what you're paying for. And we've done investigations where the invoices that are attached to the SmartStream payment, and then you visit the business has a complete different source document than what the accounting officers have in their ministries. So you find that while we're paying for a tablet, that person actually got a laptop.
Explained the proper way the financial records are to be gathered and shared.
Documents should be prepared in 3 copies, original, one to be sent to the Accountant General and one to be sent to my office. So if I don't receive it, I assume she doesn't receive it either. So that's another non-compliance issue, that when these things are prepared, that they should be prepared in triplicate, so that I get a copy, she gets a copy. And yes, we are running out of space when it comes to storage. So I at some level understand why her storage issue has arrived at that point. Even when we moved to SmartStream back in 2000, it was envisioned that she would be receiving all these copies, original copies of transactions. So she's keeping these records. So if they're not being sent to her, that's another non-compliance issue that needs to be addressed as well.
Various government departments or ministries are penalized for non-compliance. She said court action is an option.
Unfortunately, there is no sanctions, but the FARA does say, I believe it's section 13.4, that if there is any public officer who does not provide me with information, could be liable to court action for that. But I've never really went that far. First of all, I don't have a legal officer in my staff, and to go that route, I will need to go through the Attorney General, who is also part of the executive. So it has to be thought out very, very clearly.
And at the end of this morning news brief, immediately after Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes from 9 to 12, you could tune into Crumb Radio and listen to Morning Stew, and get news when I usually make legacy news wrong. So commentary, community conversation, lacking. And then at 12:30 on Crumb Radio and get one full news package. At 3 o'clock one news brief, and at 5:15 a full news package here at XTV. 6 o'clock again a full news package. You could always go to XTV Belize on YouTube or XTV Belize on Facebook and tune into any XTV programming. Stay tuned. We're going to take one quick break and come back with our guests.
Informative, accurate, current information. Crem's newscast. Local, regional, and international news. Weather and sports.
At Atlantic Bank, your convenience is our priority. Our contact center is designed to enhance your banking experience. With a wide range of customer service options, you save time and effort. You can easily call in to block or unblock your debit and credit cards, perform account inquiries, and access detailed card information. Whether you need assistance with online banking, merchant support, or general inquiries, our team is ready to help. For added convenience, if all operators are busy, you can leave your number and an operator will return your call as soon as possible to ensure you receive the support you need. Depending on your transaction type, we may need to verify your identity through a set of security questions. And remember, Atlantic Bank will never request your username or password for Atlantic Online via phone call, text, or email, ensuring your personal information remains safe and secure. Our support team is available Monday to Friday from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. in both English and Spanish. Simply dial 223-1212. This is a dedicated line for our contact center. Atlantic Bank is committed to providing you with exceptional service and the tools you need to manage your finances conveniently and securely. Take full advantage of our easy-to-use contact center services today.
Atlantic Bank, building the future together.
Smart for everybody. Smart leading everything. Smart give you everything. Smart offer everything. Smart give you everything. North to the east and the south and the west. Smart are the best, darling. Double up my data and give me all the text. In fact, give me a plan for my family. Unlimited calls, so me like it. And Smart make everybody feel happy. Bringing people together, me want it now. Smart got love for everybody. Me want my Smart plan, want it right now. Me want my Smart plan, want it right now. More bundles, data plan plan. Me want my smartphone, internet in my hand. Call me want my smart plan. Want it right now. Smart. Stay connected. Stay happy.
Amandala is now online. You can now access Amandala's midweek and weekend issues online by logging on to our website at amandala.com.bz/news and joining our membership portal today. There's 5 easy steps to get unlimited access to weekly e-paper, archive publications, and a host of other exclusive contents. Number 1, go to Amandala's website. Number 2, navigate to subscribed areas. Number 3, choose a membership level. Number 4, check out using our secured portal. Number 5, log into the members only section. Telephone numbers 501-280-4703 or 202-4477. Fax us at 501-222-4702, or you could email at amandalapress@yahoo.com or amandalapress@gmail.com. Amandala, all power to the people.
Belize Morning Vibes. Deep apologies for the lengthy break. The phone number to call is 280-5848. We're expecting Christine Perriott, former BTL employee, to join us by Zoom. We made a hope that we'll have one extended conversation. In our pay that won't happen this morning because I was just alerted to the fact that the judgment on Guatemala's application for permission to intervene in the case Belize versus Honduras will be given this morning around 7:30 the Belize time. The ICJ will deliver a judgment on Guatemala's application for permission to intervene in the case concerning sovereignty over the Zapadilla Keys. So that's scheduled to be around 7:30 this morning. Once that comes in, Mose will be calling in and we'll have to take the call. So I'd wait right now for Christine Perriott join away by Zoom. And it's very, very, very important that all Belizean workers, former Belizean workers, future Belizean workers, listen and pay attention to these conversations about severance. Currently, it get framed in the former BTL workers' experience. Yet we can't say it enough that this applies to all Belizean workers, former Belizean workers, and future Belizean workers. As we know, in 2025, November 5th, the Caribbean Court of Justice, which is the highest court, I believe, for 5 Caribbean countries. I forget, Belize is one of them. So this ruling applies to Belize and the other 4 Caribbean countries. During the break, I can get the name of the Caribbean countries. And that ruling has to do with severance. And severance, that one legal responsibility of employees, depending on how long the employee work with that organization, company, institution, their criteria is to be eligible for the severance. Severance different from pension or social security. So because of the conversation I had with Mose yesterday, Mose said, you know, what a big responsibility these 9 individual Belizeans took, because for go to the CCJ, the bag of money. And if the ruling never got enough for their favor, it may be possible that they may have to pay for their attorney and the attorneys for BTL, who are senior counsels. And based on BTL own press release, senior counsels, I believe, could charge anywhere from 1,000 to 1,300 Belize dollars per hour. So that means a big responsibility on these Belizean former BTL employees for make the decision, for carry the matter that is CCJ. And so I supposed to say yesterday, really the people of the Caribbean must say, well, I send a Christmas gift for them people, because this is a precedent case. This applied to the workers in the other 4 Caribbean countries. And so I feel that it's important to call the names of these Belizeans who took this matter to the CCJ. There are 9 of them: Irvin Marin, Lerner Longsworth, Andrew Arnold, Lowell Brooks, Lois Garbett, Ruthlyn Ayuso, Mylene Vasquez, Guadalupe Escalante, and Curtis Kelly. And for many of we, latter way, I know I never know about severance. And there is a requirement. So if you work from, make a look for this thing because I don't want to say the wrong thing. I have so much notes here. I'd wait for Christine come in because she carried the conversation because this is a part of her experience. But I just want to read one of the things that was said in the, remember the phone number is 280-5848. I'm going to call in and talk about anything you want to talk about. This particular matter come up because former employees of BTL formed one independent group called the Belize Communication Workers for Justice. I encourage you to go to their Facebook page to learn more about it. One big part of these conversations is that we as Belizeans have one duty to learn, to think, to ask questions, because it's enough for we interest. There are times when other people want to talk in your interest, either because you focus on surviving right now, you really don't have the bandwidth, the mental, physical capacity to deal with anything other than your survival. We get that. We're human. That applies to all the way. At the same time, we won't have to decide individually as adults, young adults, elders, that we may want to consider looking at life differently. That we have one duty to ourselves, to the people who will come before we, to the one that will come after we. That we will need to consider living life differently, especially as things that change around the world right now. So we as individual responsible adults may need to consider making time for seriously listen, think, learn, ask questions, actively participate in private and public conversations when it comes to matters other than the bread and butter issues. There will be times when other people want to talk, other people with additional responsibilities. If you're a community leader, if you're a parent, if you're a teacher, if you're a administrator in a government office, if you're a political leader, if you're a leader in any capacity, you have additional responsibilities for being knowledgeable, for maintain good character, and not be swayed based on maybe some of your own personal biases. So we're human, we have biases. The important thing is to be truthful to yourself about your bias and put them bias on the table, especially when they talk privately or publicly, so people know, listen, I'm human and I feel stronger because of this reason. So let's say you don't want Christian. You could say, I tell you no, I don't want a human being, but I frame this conversation as a Christian, so to know I may have some bias and I have tolerance for a certain kind of conversation. So if you declare upfront, listen, I have one particular interest. It don't mean that I can't have one logical conversation because I have the interest, or that I can't be fair in the conversation because I have one interest. But it's to be open and transparent that I have this particular interest. So I often say, and because the end of this month I'll make 20 years since I did this media house. And so a number of people know I have one particular interest. And my interest is African descendants racialized as black people in the world. Along with that, all my skin folk aren't my kinfolk. And I'm consistent about that. So when I look for any interest, good morning, thanks for calling WUB, talk to me.
Hi, good morning, Sister YaYa.
Good morning.
Good morning, Belize. Sister YaYa, Dean here. I just wanted to, first of all, give respect to the conversation that you would have brought up yesterday with Brother Mose. As it relates to what I will refer to as a certain degree of fragmentation amongst workers, not especially as it relates to the matter that you touched on this morning of the severance of the BCWJ. I think Brother Mose did an excellent job in contributing to that conversation. That there should, as trade unionists, we should never compromise ourselves on principles. And there are certain principles that you simply cannot compromise yourself on. And so I want to say that I hear you loudly and stand with you when you would have said you are very critical of the level of support that the BCWJ has received thus far from the umbrella organization, because at the end of the day, the ruling has far-reaching implications for workers outside of BTL. And so I want to say that I align with those comments and those thoughts. And I think that what this highlights for me as a trade unionist is that we can't draw the line within the sun to say, you know what, on grounds of principles, I don't care what people think about me, I don't care what people say about me, this is my position. We are always trying to be in the good books of others. And it is not only in that movement. We see it right now in every single thing that is happening in our society. We see whereby yesterday, no other than the Prime Minister of this country would have been speaking to the future leaders of this country and indirectly informing them that having a visa is of much more greater significance than their health. And those aren't my words. I'm paraphrasing him. He's saying that he prefers to get rid of the Cubans to safeguard people's visa, when the Cubans are responsible for the health and livelihood of a lot of us here in Belize. And so we're always divided along these lines. And then the politics. We as Belizeans, we can't separate with politics. We simply can't separate with politics, it seems, and we're very mature about having these conversations. And we think that YaYa problems are not my problem. The cane farmers, the Prime Minister looked in the camera and said to the nation that the government of Belize is not in no way, shape, or form encouraging the cane farmers to drop their lawsuit. Yet there is a letter in which he's proposing to spend $2.5 million of taxpayers' dollars to boost the case of a foreign investor, so that the cane farmers can walk away from almost $11 million. The letter is explicitly clear. This help in fertilizer, $1 million a year, is contingent on you dropping the case. And this gentleman once again demonstrates that he's a stranger to the truth. And the people say, well, that the cane farmers the issue. Not my issue. So I hear you, sister, when you call out certain entities, but I always remind people that the individual that leads these entities come out of your household and my household. How have we grown our children? We've grown them to be a bunch of sheep and cowards.
So, Brother Dean, how come I don't see nobody from the Public Service Union collectively in solidarity with Belize communication workers for justice for all them protests what they do?
Yeah. I mean, that's your opinion, Sister YaYa. I have in myself showed up. I myself have showed up. I myself has been in contact with the leadership. I myself has especially said to my comrades at BCWU that management misled them and management ensured that the vote that they took would have gone the way it did. Because when I posed certain scenario to them, it was obviously clear that they were manipulated.
But what I'm asking you, brother, in holding you accountable, 1 second, in holding you accountable to what you're saying, you're the president of the Belize Public Service Union. As a union, has that union taken a position if they'll support this group or not?
I think this matter has continuously been championed under the umbrella of the National Trade Union Congress of Belize. And I think the Public Service Union's position has been absolutely clear, because I don't compromise solidarity. That's the one thing I don't compromise. I don't have to go through something for they understand that injustice to get levied from people. But the PSU is one affiliate. And this is the hard conversation that people don't like to have, because, the first thing you want to hear, somebody and call my comrade over the BCW and say, you know what, flowers with the bonfire for honor. And I'm not burning fire. I'm saying there's certain principles in trade union that you do not compromise.
Stick a pin, brother. This is what I'm trying to understand. I personally feel like any union member, I believe, should ever sing Solidarity Forever because we know to show solidarity for this group. So I ask, if I understand that the NTUCB has taken a position, I ask if individual unions cannot step out on their own and show solidarity for this group. That's the way I ask you. Or if you don't have to go along with the trade union Congress of Belize position.
No. The constitution of the NTUCB is explicitly clear that each affiliate of the NTUB is autonomous and can take positions on matters on their own. However, that in and of itself defies the principle of solidarity. So you don't want me to be saying one thing and the umbrella organizations, because this our party divide and conquer come in. And so I would never come out and try to have a conversation that aligns with my beliefs, my principles, that clearly is not in line with the National Trade Union Congress of Belize. But as a citizen of this country, I have a right to speak. And that's what I'm doing. I'm saying, look, we have not trained our people. We've not trained our people in the labor movement. And so we have people who simply don't understand what it means to be in solidarity. Right? And so, like I tell people, everybody think that when you wear these hats, that you become transformed and you become... No, if my pan never grow me a certain way, I may be the same thing. But I just fall in line and follow the instruction and listen to the garbage and take care of yourself and your family. That's the mindset that we have to figure out how we change. We can't just necessarily just be criticize. And I respect everybody's opinion because everybody is entitled to their opinion. But I think that the greater question for me is and making people understand that the sufferation where you go through, brother and sister, is tied and linked to the system of governance. And when you can make that linkage and you continue to work in this selfish manner that is about you and your family, in the long run, ultimately, all of us will lose. I mean, and I will speak, and I really want to touch on the cane farmers issue because that thing really pain me. How can the government of Belize look down on cane farmers and say to them, if we don't want any help from we on taxpayers' back, left PSI alone?
Let me ask you this as the president of the Public Service Union, because those are workers. Does the Labor Department have a duty to defend those workers, or those workers have to go to the Labor Department and say, YaYa words, the state the bribe way?
Well, the state, I don't know if the argument that the state is bribing them...
Well, it really as a bribe. If you do this will happen.
Yeah.
If you don't do this, that's a bribe to me.
That is contingent. But I don't think that's a matter for the Labor Department. And I will say this with the utmost of respect for the Labor Department and the Labor Commissioner. And I've said it again, I have nothing personal with the Labor Commissioner. But clearly this administration did a bad move in their selection process. The Labor Department needs to be turned into an independent body. You cannot have a Labor minister, a Labor CEO who sits and makes policy decisions with the government and then can arbitrate worker issues when then that the perpetrators are the crime. Then that the perpetrators are the injustice.
Let me ask you a question. Why would the Labor Department not have an interest in this when this is a worker situation?
Why wouldn't they have an interest? I think the narrative has been sold that this dispute between two private entities, the BCW, which is a legally registered entity, and BSI ASA, which again is a legal private entity.
But these are Belizean workers.
Well, you see, YaYa, I am just saying to you what is the narrative. So I cannot, I really can't say more other than what I understand. I understand what you're saying, and that's why I am bringing up this issue this morning. Because I am from the north, and other people might not know it, but me and my two brothers have cut cane. All my uncles cut cane. My dad owned cane field. So nobody can tell me about how Rocho and cut cane. Nobody. None. And if they know me from Charles Farm, they'll know that I did that. But when I watch what's happening here, when this government should be saying to ASR, get the hell out of my country, brother. Get the hell out. This government has recently renewed tax-free concession, including environmental tax, when ASR, they pollute this environment, pollute the river, take advantage of we farmers. And what we gear up for the next show, YaYa. We gear up for the next celebration. We don't understand what's going on with the farmers then. So it's unfair sometimes when I think there seems to be an intent to put the burden of saving this country on the shoulders of a few men. It's really overwhelming sometimes when I really sit and think about what we're going through.
Dean,
and I don't know when the Malaysians will get enough. I don't know. But I personally have gotten enough.
Thank you. I want to reason you some more, but I have to go to a break. I never pay attention to the phone. The guest they on for over 11 minutes. Thanks for calling, Dean. We are just talking. We have to take one quick break, and when we come back, we have Christine Perriott on. Apologies, Christine. Break time.
All right, you're watching WUB. This is XTV. Big up to our sponsors, 4 Point Security. All right, and the two-second question of the day where I want to find out from the Belizean name if they think cartel exists at Belize based on the type of crime we face each and every day in our country. So I'm going to find out the people in 2 cents and see if they know if any cartel exists at Belize. Let's go find out people in 2 cents. You think we have any cartel involved in some of the crime when they go inside of Belize? What do you think?
That's a big 2 cent question. That sounds like a $2,000 question. No sense doing that.
You think cartel there Belize?
Well, brother, I got the Belize and everything then a cartel are the one where I know they are.
Yeah, because I asked a question there based on the type of crime that happen.
Well, crime being in Belize, but just that they get rampant.
Okay.
Crime being in Belize, just that. The quality of crime now, they like they go to school.
Okay. So,
cartel.
So you're 2 cents,
Cartel of Belize, brother.
All right, good.
No,
based on the type of crime would happen?
No, I don't think so.
All right, good. 2 cent question. You think cartel that I believe? What? You think cartel that I believe based on the type of crime would happen?
I'm not sure. I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No.
All right, good. That you're 2 cents.
No.
All right. Please, miss?
I don't know.
You don't know? All right. That you're 2 cents. All right.
At Habet and Abet and Brothers Abet, we've always proudly celebrated Women's Month. This year, we celebrate women keeping the balance at home, at work, and in their communities. That's why all March long, all women receive 15% off store-wide, from paints to plumbing and everything in between. Plus, 20 to 65% off lots more deals on sale and clearance. With trusted experience, top quality products, and service that's second to none, we're here to support women every step of the way. Visit or call us today. Happy Women's Month from all of us at Habet and Abet and Brothers Abet, doing our part to balance the scales.
En Atlantic Bank, tu comodidad es nuestra prioridad. Nuestro centro de contacto está diseñado para mejorar tu experiencia bancaria, con una amplia gama de opciones de servicio al cliente. Ahorras tiempo y esfuerzo. Puedes llamar fácilmente para bloquear o desbloquear tus tarjetas de débito y crédito, realizar consultas de cuentas y acceder a información detallada de tus tarjetas. Ya sea que necesites asistencia con la banca en línea, apoyo para comercios o consultas generales, nuestro equipo está listo para ayudarte. Para mayor comodidad, si todos los operadores están ocupados, puedes dejar tu número y un operador te devolverá la llamada lo antes posible para asegurarse de que recibas el apoyo que necesitas. Para mayor seguridad, es posible que necesitemos verificar tu identidad con un conjunto de preguntas sencillas. Recuerda, Atlantic Bank nunca solicitará tu nombre de tu usuario ni contraseña de Atlantic Online por llamada telefónica, mensaje de texto o correo electrónico, asegurando que tu información personal permanezca segura y protegida. Nuestro equipo de apoyo está disponible de lunes a viernes, de 8 a.m. a 6 p.m. en inglés y en español. Simplemente marca al 223-1212. Esta es la línea dedicada para nuestro centro de contacto. Atlantic Bank se compromete a brindarte un servicio excepcional y las herramientas que necesitas para administrar tus finanzas de manera conveniente y segura. Aprovecha al máximo nuestro servicio del centro de contacto.
Atlantic Bank, building the future together.
Smart for everybody. Smart leading everything. Smart give you everything. Smart offer everything. Smart give you everything. North to the east and the south and the west. Smart are the best. Darling, double up my data and give me all the text. In fact, give me a plan for my family. Unlimited calls, so me like it. And Smart make everybody feel happy. Bringing people together, me want it now. Smart got love for everybody. Me want my Smart plan. Want it right now. Me want my Smart plan. Want it right now. More bundles, data plan. Me want my smartphone, internet in my hand. Call me want my Smart plan. Want it right now. Smart. Stay connected. Stay happy.
Tired of appliances that just don't last? Appliances that just can't keep up? It's time for a change. GE Appliances delivers reliability, innovation, and performance you can trust. The decision is easy. Don't settle for less. Choose quality, choose reliability, choose GE.
I want to share why this work is so urgent. My mother is 75 years old. She's blind. She has lived by the sea for 75 years. Today, my mother cannot see the stones you guys are placing to protect her home. But she can hear. Every night she sits in her home and hear the waves beating at her door. To most people, that song is peaceful. But to my mother, the song is a countdown. It is the song of the land she loves being stolen inch by inch. For years, the song has been a dark shadow over our lives. I look at our student here today, their bright little faces. We need your help to make sure that when these children go up to be 75, they are sitting in their homes and aren't afraid of the sea.
The whole design of the T is to catch the sand as it walks past Monkey River. Literally what you see is the sand comes from the river, goes out to sea. The sea was clogged with mud and sand, so the river now pushed the sand out like it used to. One, we have less flooding. We have a lot of drainage on the way to Monkey River. The water is not there, so. But as you can see, we've moved the sand over. Now nature will walk it down with time.
There is an area between the burial ground and where the village is that needs some attention as well, and so it will be addressed right away since PM has approved some additional finance to continue the project in Monkey River.
I am very proud that Minister Osman Martinez, the area representative, along with Oscar Kenya, they saw the necessity, one as the area representative and one as the Minister of Rural Transformation. And then along with the support from my office that we managed to do this, showed us that we just need to put a little bit more investment and we can do the entire area. So I said, you know what, give me an estimate, we're going to do it. We are going to save Monkey River village and going to make it into one of the more beautiful villages in the country.
Look here, your kitchen light there and you never in the kitchen.
But I'm going back in there right now.
And the coffee maker?
Just to try keep my coffee warm for later.
Where do you know?
I'll try to think about what to eat.
You know the more you open or close the fridge, it takes longer for the food cool. For a hot day like today, it burns more energy. You recharge your phone right now?
No.
Plug it out then. You really only wash 2 Lee socks and 1 Lee shirt? You don't know what small load burn the same amount of electricity as large loads?
But this is my favorite shirt.
You have to be more energy efficient. Use large loads. This AC they blow hard. You know, if you keep the temperature at 25 degrees Celsius or higher, you burn less energy and you also keep the place cool. And for a nice day like today, turn off the AC, open up the house and make some fresh breeze come in.
You know what? I think I get it now. As consumers, we need to be more energy efficient and practice energy conservation.
When the job demands more, Milwaukee Power Tools are designed to handle the toughest jobs on the construction site. If it's speed, durability, and performance you need, Milwaukee is the perfect choice. For unstoppable power at an unbeatable price, make it Milwaukee. Nothing but heavy duty. Available at Benny's. Quality and savings.
Morning Vibes. Phone calls are on hold. Sincere apologies. Christine Perrott is our guest via Zoom this morning. Idian was for half an hour and I had to run up my mouth. Morning, Christine.
Morning, YaYa. You know, it's no big problem when we hear other matters being aired. I'm okay with that, so there's no need for any apologies or feel any guilt. But morning, Belize, and thank you.
How do you feel this morning?
Again.
How do you feel?
You hear me?
Yeah, to hear you. How you do feel?
Depends on what you ask me for, because all kind of emotions and all kind of, especially when hearing from what you and Mose had spoken about yesterday. Yeah, a lot of different things running through my mind.
Before I went to break, I was talking to the president of the Public Service Union, and he made a pick up on the conversation me and Mose had yesterday about holding the National Trade Union Congress of Belize accountable for not to show open solidarity with the Belize Communication Workers for Justice independent group of former BTL employees who consistently, creatively, courageously to hold the company, Belize Telemedia Limited, and the government of Belize accountable, primarily the Labor Department, for not following the law based on the CCJ ruling and based on the Labor Act. And so I appreciate the conversation with Dean Flowers this morning. My position still hold. I don't think none of the union should have ever sing solidarity forever, because the principle of unionism is to defend workers and to be in solidarity with workers, whether they're union members or not. I may set up 5 Caribbean countries, but there are 4: Barbados, Belize, Dominica, Guyana, who have the Caribbean Court of Justice as the highest court. So that November 5th, 2025 ruling from the CCJ as it relates to the former 9 BTL workers and severance, it also applied to workers in those countries: Barbados, Dominica, Guyana, and Belize. So we're framing this conversation, I'm being speed wrong this morning, as it relates to Belizean workers, former workers, and future workers. Christine, what that important point for workers in the 4 Caribbean countries get after that CCJ ruling on November 5th, 2025?
Well, from my perspective, this case is a landmark, and like what I heard Mose said, that the workers is supposed to mature a party for their people, because the appellants carry this way to the CCJ, and I will tell you, it is not little money to go to the CCJ, and they sacrifice a lot for the. And this is not only applying to Belize, but this is applying to throughout the Caribbean, like you said, with the other CARICOM partners, that interpretation of the highest authoritative role has been declared. And it not only set a precedence on a statutory obligation on an employer, but it also clarifies how the mechanism in this social justice legislation protect workers. So that, on a whole, is a huge landmark that I don't think many workers, and I'm speaking of Belize, because this where I am from, and it doesn't realize that how big of an impact this is on workers, period. Workers like workers now, workers coming on board, and unborn workers. So that, to me, is the biggest issue. So it instead of you having different courts having different interpretation, and some going pro, some con, and it's like all topsy-turvy, the CCJ made one straight across interpretation, and they made it they articulated in such a way that to me, workers can it's a bit easier to be interpreted by workers, and to me that's one of the biggest point that why this is a major landmark. So it's not only going to apply to Belize, but throughout all the Caribbeans that are part of the CARICOM.
Please say where make one worker eligible for severance and what they want employer duty, especially if they're not paid. What make one Belizean eligible and what make one employer responsible for severance, especially if they're not paid.
And that's a good point that you are stressing on, because it is really, really important for workers to understand that this is not a matter only for former long-term BTL employees that have formed this BCWJ group. Anybody, and I'm talking to all workers, and I'm talking to workers here in Belize, the minute you have 5 years The minute you accomplish 5 years or you have invested 5 years in your company, 5 continuous years, meaning there is no break, just straight through, you already starting to accumulate severance. And the day your employment ends, as so long as it does not meet to misconduct, thief, fighting, or I think there is just like 3 or 4, but the main one is misconduct and abandoning the job without cause. You are entitled, legally entitled, statutory entitled to severance, 5 years going forward. Now they have different conditions under the 5 to 10 years and the 10 years going forward. And this applies to retirees, resignees, whether voluntary, whether they're forced to. If you have medical health and you have to leave work, if you choose to retire on 60 or after 60. And the main one is if BTL terminates your employment. That is like the bottom. So from 5 years going up, it is not 10 years only going up, it's 5 years going up. So if any worker, not only BTL, you could come from Princess, you could come from the electricity BEL, you could come from the water sector, you could come from the public service, because even and this is also out there, and I'm going to reiterate this fact. If you have a former Chief Justice, someone a witch that can file for severance, now we're talking about public service, this person in the Chief Justice in the legal judiciary system, if he can use Section 183, because that's the section that entitles where protects you for the entitlement of severance, can use this and sue GOB for this entitlement. Any worker, once you hit 5 years going up and your employment ends, you are entitled. Now, I want to say this abundantly clear, because the Act as well say it, and I will say the section so that you know that I'm not just speaking out of air and the holler about things happening in eternity that I have no how far eternity to go. But the Labor Act in 193 states, and it says for the avoidance of doubt. Again, it says for the avoidance of doubt, the employer's liability, meaning the employer is held and has a legal obligation. The employer's liability starts on the day of cessation of employment. Simply means the day your employment ends. So there is no eternity, like I've heard stated on a review with in Love FM, when employment ends or when an entitled worker is due their severance. There is no eternity. It has a date, and it says the day your employment ends, the liability of the employer begin. Now, what makes the CCJ interpretation important is that they clarify that the Labor Act and the severance pay provision is a social justice legislation. It's a protective mechanism for workers. And there are different protection. For example, 183 guarantees you this. And in the interpretation, it says this is not something that they're penalizing the employer or the worker. It is just a cushion. They call it a cushion for when you leave work whether it be on a sudden movement or you decide to retire and you go, this is to help you along with the new, the new pastures that you're going to take. Why this situation brings a lot of, I wouldn't say anger, but it's appalling that the authoritative body, the Labor Department and the Minister of the Labor, they have this authority to ensure that the Labor Act, the protective legislation, is enforced for workers. I mean, we have Minister Karim Musa came out in February and saying, it's a statutory right. He's the first one to came out and say that BTL needs to pay this. And after that, they brought out a PR, a public release statement in, I think it's February 24th. And they invited the workers who have these complaints that the severance, because of course I am referring to the severance, but there's also different trade disputes and there are different matters that are enforced under the Labor Act. In the situation that is the topic right now is the severance, Section 183. Workers have been denied, or I would say workers have not been in compliance with this obligation. And according to the interpretation of the CCJ, this obligation, this liability that arose from the day your employment ends is an enduring and statutory entitlement. So it doesn't go away. You can't diminish it. You can't take it away. You can't negotiate it. You can't waive it. And so when you have an employer coming to say, well, out of the goodness of our heart, we think we're going to pay some statute bar there. It's okay. I know I use the words because it just, like you say, fully talk, but not fully listen.
Okay, so let's be very clear. Based on how long you work consistently, and never get terminated for misconduct, or never abandon the job, the law say your employer owe you for severance. And no matter how long it take for pay, you want always owe the debt. For that the eternity, you want owe the debt. And so I have 3 minutes before I got a break, and then we'll come back and see how much longer Christine Perret could stay with me. And when we come back, Christine, and I know you to talk specifically about the severance, and these are for all employers and employees. Before we got a break, one of the things me and Most talked about yesterday is how real fear is. Why people may not come out in solidarity, why people may not hold leaders accountable. What are your 2 cents per fair? Because you look power in at the face and pay the cost for it. What are your 2 cents per fair before we got a break?
Yeah, I'm gonna give only 2 cents because to me that are 50 cents I hear one of the person saying that the previous when they asked about this thing about gangs in there. Fear is a real thing. And you guys brought that up, and it is there, it exists. People are, I shouldn't say people, workers do fear losing their job. That's a given. But when you have a protective collective bargaining agreement that is managed by a union, and you have above that, because then the CBA is protecting the work, but the Labor Act, the Legislative Act trumps most of that. It's and then you will find that the Constitution trumps everything else. Now, we have under the Constitution a freedom of association. We have a freedom of expression. And this is what you are seeing exercised by the Police Communication for Justice workers, which are former workers of BTL, who helped created that company. Now, there other workers from different employment that has been in the same boat. Like I've noticed with the BEL Electrical, where you see, I know Sean, I know Derla, they are long-term worker as well. So it is not only for BTL, and I have to sing that because people think that this matter is only towards BTL former employee. But when you think about fear of losing your job, you think about how you feed your kid, your roof over your head. But when you have these legislative and when you have these body there to protect you, and these bodies can't stand on the mere solidarity, the mere unity, that is the motto or the main reason why you're there, you will have that. That is why it is important that like the trade unions and like PCW, for instance, the National Trade Union, the big umbrella of all the unions. And don't tell me that because you are not a union member, the NTUCB can't protect you. Or because you are not a current worker, BCW can't protect you. Because the Trade Union Act under 304, Section 2, defines employee as current employees and former employees. They even include managerial when they're the class employees. So former employees have that protection. But if if your body, who you represent, are not aware, yes, that fear will be there. And trust me, the employer, and I can speak of BTL because I was terminated unlawfully for union activities. And I struggled through that. And when I say struggle, I don't mean like I suffer, but I struggled in terms of fight. I fought that system. And I had fear. I'm gonna say I had fear. I have 3 kids. My baby was like 9 months when this situation occurred. And they tried to comfort the house. I end up losing the home. But there is losses. But if you don't stand up for something, you're going to fall for everything.
Respect. I have forgot a break. Christine Perriott, former BTL worker, former General Secretary of the Belize Communication Workers Union. Break time.
Belize is transforming the way taxes are managed with the Semi-Autonomous Revenue Authority, a modern system built on flexibility, efficiency, and accountability. SAR will have its own human resource policies, ensuring faster hiring, fairer opportunities, and competitive pay that rewards performance. The SARA will also manage its own budget, making it easier to fund what matters most: better technology, improved taxpayer services, and stronger enforcement when needed. With this flexibility comes responsibility. Independent audits, public reports, and parliamentary oversight will ensure full transparency. SARA's transparency, flexibility, and efficiency will ensure smarter decision-making, better taxpayer service, and responsible use of public funds. SARA, flexibility to serve you better, accountability to serve you right.
Rotavirus is a leading cause of severe watery diarrhea and vomiting in young children. It can lead to dangerous dehydration and hospital visits. The good news? The rotavirus vaccine is now available countrywide. It is given in drops at 2, 4, and 6 months of age. Protect your child. Visit your nearest health clinic today.
I feel very happy for Francisca, a single mother who has struggled a lot, and this house is going to be now theirs, and it's an opportunity for a new beginning.
I'm tremendously excited and honored to have received this present. I applied some years ago, and the response that I received was spectacular, and I'm completely happy about receiving this home. I cannot wait to spend the first night here with my girls, and have this sense of feeling that I finally get to own something.
Turning that key feels amazing. It's ours. You know, we can walk how we want to walk in it, be loud, you know, have fun memories, you know. That's what I'm trying to create for them.
I feel very grateful and happy that we're in a new house and we can move around how we want and make as much noise as we want.
It's a huge step for me and especially my son to own our new home, and I'm looking forward to make it even more extended so we can have even a bigger home eventually in the future. I am happy and excited. My birthday was yesterday, so today that's a perfect gift.
I'm very grateful, excited about my house, something I can call my house, and for my kids. As soon as you become a mother, everything you want is the best for them. So I'm very happy to have my own safe place and also for them.
It's a good feeling because it's not only the house we're building here. In this development that we did here, we acquired the property, government did, and we distributed to over 56 needy residents. And I believe this is the 4th house in this area. So it's an accomplishment to know that the people in this area didn't have where to live before, and now they have an opportunity.
Nando's Wholesale is your market leader in Belize's wholesale industry when it comes to high-quality products at the most reasonable and competitive prices. With over 40 years in the wholesale business, Nando's Wholesale embraces the partnership of the hotel industry in Belize by providing world-renowned brands in wines, seasonings, condiments, and cleaners in industrial sizes, as well as small and large kitchen appliances and equipment. Nando's also takes pride in providing one of the quietest and most durable air conditioning systems in Belize with technical support and spare parts. Nando's Wholesale. Professional, reliable, effective, and prompt. Nando's Wholesale always delivers. Visit us at www.nandos.bz or send an email to nandos@nandos.bz. Or, even better yet, give us a call today at 222-500 or 280-8080 to speak to one of our sales representatives today.
Amandala is now online. You can now access Amandala's midweek and weekend issues online by logging on to our website at amandala.com.bz/news and joining our membership portal today. There's 5 easy steps to get unlimited access to weekly e-paper, archive publications, and a host of other exclusive contents. Number 1, go to Amandala's website. Number 2, navigate to subscribed areas. Number 3, choose a membership level. Number 4, check out using our secured portal. Number 5, log into the members only section. Telephone numbers 501-280-4703 or 202-4477. Fax us at 501-222-4702, or you could email at amandalapress@yahoo.com or amandalapress@gmail.com. Amandala, all power to the people.
Morning Vibes for this morning, Thursday, March 19, 2027. Currently, there's the ICJ hearing is on. It's delivering its judgment on Guatemala's application for permission to intervene in the case concerning sovereignty over the Sapodilla Keys. So that's currently on right now. We'll wait for hear what will be the ruling. And we're also in a conversation with Sister Christine Perriott, former BTL employee. Christine. Yes, good, you're back. Just give it quickly, 2 cents again, because we're far rush this morning. What was your experience with BTL as a former employee? One lot of people, especially this generation, don't know who that Christine Perriott and what we did talk about.
Well, my experience with BTL, it was a good company to work for, and I can understand why we have so many employees that are long term. Apart from the benefits were good, and the work that you know, the CBA had a protection where the fair wages, fair benefits, and the working conditions were worth it to me. And so I had 17 years at BTL when my services was interpreted. So I had already invested that amount of services. But when you talk about investment and long term, you'll find that people or workers, I keep saying people, but workers tend to stay with a company. Let's put it this way: when a worker is treated right, you will get the best out of that worker. And for a long time, yes, there were some little struggles and fights that the union had to do to ensure that fair labor practices is there, and the fair wages is there according with the cost of living, and benefits match whatever you're putting into the employment. Because workers need to understand, you're not begging for your wages, you are earning your wages. And that's a right, that's a constitutional right to work and earn and to provide for your home and for your future. But so yes, working with BTL, I had a lot of interesting milestones that I had to accomplish. For one, being the only female and the first female in the technical field, I did meet my fair share of sexual harassment, meeting male chauvinists that thinks that you don't belong there and you belong home, pregnant and barefooted, and you women of today, that's gone. You know, we get into any field, we feel that we are competent enough and we can prove we are. But apart from that, you know, what you invest in BTL, it like we help build that, and there is at no time we would try to break that or try to demolish what we have put together. And if you ask any long-term worker, you will find out that that's kind of like what they will say. They enjoy working there, they're going to invest in it, and they will not demolish it or try to break it up. But one thing we did do in the union was to make sure we became respected, because for a while our union was going down, our union had no name, we didn't even have money. And a bunch of us just gathered together and said, hey, this we're here to, you know, in this company, we're working hard, we're contributing, and we want to make a difference. We want to make a stance that make sure we stand together, because we want to protect us. We want to protect our brothers and sisters. And that brings up to where a group of people just like the BCWJ gather and come together and say, okay, we're going to make this stance. And then birth it out of that, we have a new BCW. We created a logo, we created more camaraderie, we created more solidarity, and we ensure that BTL the management started to respect us. So, but our main issue, and I will say my main issue, came when we had the Ashcraft Alliance, and they wanted to purchase the shares. And workers, we felt like we have worked hard for this company, and we felt because of the articles of association and what was written and how the shares was to be distributed and owned, we felt that no Ashcroft Alliance should have owned, or one person should have owned majority of shares from another country and try to dictate what was going to happen. We felt that this the company that we have invested in for so long, according to the articles of association, should have been with either the government or the workers. Those were the only two entities that could have earned or owned like 25 or more shares. And we stood up for that. And in doing that, yeah, we had trade disputes, which is what you go through when you have a union, because you are fighting to protect not only the future of your job, but you're fighting to protect the company that you work for. And well, in doing that and fighting with this Ashcroft Alliance, we faced some real struggles. And we did had other unions come together. We had the National Trade Union. Brother Frizz was very, very, very magnanimous in that time. And I think he will be turning in his grave right now if he noticed that, you know, what is going on, that we have this issue, this struggle, and we're not in solidarity with each other, or we're not in unity. But that was 2 cents on my experience there. So in the midst of a trade dispute, I was a general secretary. We were negotiating for our increase according to COLA, which is a cost of living. And we were, we had 3 workers, 3 main liaison officers terminated, and while we are negotiating on a collective bargaining agreement and negotiating for salary increase. And immediately we put a hold on negotiation, and we stood out for those 3 or I would say brothers, because when you injure one, you injure all. And we put a hold on everything, and we had given notice to do strike, but because following the procedure of the trade union dispute, you know, it went into the trade dispute, and then the strike was placed on a hold, and then it went to like trying to get the matter settled. During that entire situation, in the negotiation for that trade dispute, BTL thought it wise to terminate my services. I do want to say that I did take the matter to court, and the court did find BTL was unlawful, terminated me unlawfully because of my trade union activities. And that was also held at the appeals court. So that's why we have these protective legislation that supposed to protect us, protect workers, protect when you're in the trade movement. These legislations are there to protect us, and if the party or the authority body is not there to enforce these protective measures and protective mechanism, we have to come together as workers. We have to come in union, in unity. We have to come together in solidarity to stand up for one another, so that these mechanisms that are there to protect us stays there to protect us, and not have employers trying to benefit from us working there. And then, like, you know, you can still, some people would say, still have that master slavery mentality that you do what I say and when I say, or I'm gonna just boot you out.
Okay,
So,
I have another 8 minutes before I go to break, and I have one sensitive matter that I recently became aware of. A long-term employee of BTL, Brother Philip Simeon Singh, transitioned on March 13, 2026. After one courageous battle with cancer. You could go to the Belize Communication Workers for Justice Facebook page and see this post. He devoted 32 years of service to Belize Telemedia Company. He began a career on May 15, 1973 He worked as an external plant technician. He retired May 26, 2011. After decades of helping build and maintain the telecommunications infrastructure, where many are depend upon. People remember as one quiet man, determined with strong principle. Even while he faced illness, according to the BCWJ Facebook page, he remained committed to the values of fairness and solidarity, will guide the workers who continue to advocate for what they believe just and equitable. A position are never about conflict, but about principle. He believed that workers earn throughout one lifetime of service and should be honored fully and fairly. I was extremely sad when I read that Facebook post, Christine. So tell we for the people then where suffer and dead, former BTL employees or any Belizean employees or any employee Barbados, Dominica, Guyana will use the CCJ as the highest court. How unfair and unjust that people never get in severance, and what that severance come it do for people quality of life, especially people who became sick. And why that 6% matter. Now, I understand that sometimes you do have to go to the court to get the 6%. But in the context of a real life issue, here we have Brother Philip Simeon Singh, who died on March 13, 2026, Friday. Former BTL employee for decades. Make that real for we, Christine, as we last point of conversation this morning.
Yes, that also really touched me, really hurt me, broke my heart. I knew Singh for all my time that I was there. We knew him then as Singman or just Singh. Was a cool person to work with, and it did break my heart to learn he gave 32 years and didn't live to enjoy this cushion, this severance that he invested in, this that he gave blood, sweat, tears, and labor that he earned. He did not get the full benefit of enjoying that. And to me, that goes to the heart of to say that this is a real person. These are people that have real life, that suffer. It's the same thing that the CCJ is talking about. Is when you go out there in the pasture, you don't know what you're going to expect. And we have many former long-term workers that have passed. And one of my friends, was a classmate of mine growing up, Luis Romero is one. He passed away as well because of health. Many of us and their voice, they don't have a voice. So we have to speak on their behalf. And that is exactly what the BCWJ is doing. They're speaking not only for those that can't speak no more, but you also have some that are afraid to speak. You know, they look at BTL and they just lose their voice. So somebody has to speak. We have to come together and speak. And when it comes to people like Philip saying, when you watch the protesters, you see Percy. When I knew Percy, he had two feet. Now I saw him in a wheelchair, 1.5. You know how those things bother me? I watch all those who are paraded. I know every one of them. And then I'm seeing there like Letty. From my time, we were always fighting for Letty and her health because BTL always wanted to get rid of anybody they feel like, had an injury or disabled without even thinking. You could be pregnant and getting sick and they want to get rid of you because for them you're sickly. So when you think about these people, these are real life. These are real people. And like Mose had said, we are an example of what workers will be coming up in the near future. So it is important to realize that this is not only for us who is out there, who is walking the pavement and who is running around and speaking out. And some may say it's because we're greedy or we're selfish. And it is also important why the 6% came about. Well, the 6% came about because BTL said they're going to pay the 6%, but it's a minimum starting point, 6% going back. And one of the main reasons why we're championing this, because BTL should not profit from its own mistake. In my case, it's almost 20 years that they have prolonged the delay of paying severance. There are some that are 25, you have 30, 32 like Singman. This is, people will say it's unfair, but you can't benefit for holding our money. You use our money. I could say they use, because they're not just going to hold thousands and they were talking about, going to 20 million. You're not going to just hold that right there for a hold. They're going to invest that. So they literally took our money and invested in it. And who knows, probably wanted to purchase smart with our money. Why they don't want to pay us? But that 6%, it's not just a number thrown in the air and for no reason. Our severance, and this can happen to any worker from any employer that has prolonged their delay in paying this, those employers should not profit from these wrongdoings or mistake, whatever they want to classify it as. That should not happen. And this is real delays, the workers, the labor force. This is real. This is the solidarity has to be there. We have to hold people accountable. And I will say to the PM before I run out of this time, the PM has come out and said that he finds it reasonable that 6% from the CCJ judgment, 5th November 2025, is reasonable that they paid from there. I want to say to the Prime Minister, first of all, we were not appellant of that 2025 case. So how you came about that it's supposed to be from there, we were not appellant of that case. Our case starts the day our employment ends, according to the section 194.3. And second, until you have walked in my shoe, until you have walked that pavement, until you have walked in the shoes of these former long-term workers and experienced a loss of a family member, a loss of your personal property, a loss of dignity, loss of labor, loss of life, you can come and tell me that is reasonable. But until then, this is not acceptable.
Big thanks, Sister Christine Perriott, former BTL worker. YaYa sister, big thanks, sis. I appreciate your input. And this is on behalf of former Belizean workers, current Belizean workers, future Belizean workers, and workers in Dominica, Guyana, and Barbados who use the Caribbean Court of Justice as their highest court. Break time. Enjoy the rest of your day, sis. Good to see you.
Thank you as well. Goodbye.
I want to share why this work is so urgent. My mother is 75 years old. She's blind. She has lived by the sea for 75 years. Today, my mother cannot see the stones you guys are placing to protect her home. But she can hear. Every night she sits in her home and hear the waves beating at her door. To most people, that song is peaceful. But to my mother, the song is a countdown. It is the song of the land she loves being stolen inch by inch. For years, the song has been a dark shadow over our lives. I look at our student here today, their bright little faces. We need your help to make sure that when these children go up to be 75, they are sitting in their homes and aren't afraid of the sea.
The whole design of the T is to catch the sand as it walks past Monkey River. Literally what you see is the sand comes from the river, goes out to sea. The sea was clogged with mud and sand, so the river now pushed the sand out like it used to. One, we have less flooding. We have a lot of drainage on the way to Monkey River. The water is not there. So, but as you can see, we've moved the sand over. Now nature will walk it down with time.
There is an area between the burial ground and where the village is that needs some attention as well, and so it will be addressed right away since PM has approved some additional finance to continue the project in Monkey River.
I am very proud that Minister Osman Martinez, the area representative, along with Oscar Kenya, they saw the necessity, one as the area representative and one as the Minister of Rural Transformation. And then along with the support from my office that we managed to do this, showed us that we just need to put a little bit more investment and we can do the entire area. So I said, you know what, give me an estimate, we're going to do it. We are going to save Monkey River village and going to make it into one of the more beautiful villages in the country.
At Atlantic Bank, your convenience is our priority. Our contact center is designed to enhance your banking experience. With a wide range of customer service options, you save time and effort. You can easily call in to block or unblock your debit and credit cards, perform account inquiries, and access detailed card information. Whether you need assistance with online banking, merchant support, or general inquiries, our team is ready to help. For added convenience, if all operators are busy, you can leave your number and an operator will return your call as soon as possible to ensure you receive the support you need. Depending on your transaction type, we may need to verify your identity through a set of security questions. And remember, Atlantic Bank will never request your username or password for Atlantic Online via phone call, text, or email, ensuring your personal information remains safe and secure. Our support team is available Monday to Friday from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. in both English and Spanish. Simply dial 223-1212. This is a dedicated line for our contact center. Atlantic Bank is committed to providing you with exceptional service and the tools you need to manage your finances conveniently and securely. Take full advantage of our easy-to-use contact center services today.
Atlantic Bank. Building the future together.
Nando's Wholesale is your market leader in Belize's wholesale industry when it comes to high-quality products at the most reasonable and competitive prices. With over 40 years in the wholesale business, Nando's Wholesale embraces the partnership of the hotel industry in Belize by providing world-renowned brands in wines, seasonings, condiments, and cleaners in industrial sizes, as well as small and large kitchen appliances and equipment. Nando's also takes pride in providing one of the quietest and most durable air conditioning systems in Belize with technical support and spare parts. Nando's Wholesale. Professional, reliable, effective, and prompt. Nando's Wholesale always delivers. Visit us at www.nandos.bz or send an email to nandos@nandos.bz. Or, even better yet, give us a call today at 222-500 or 280-8080 to speak to one of our sales representatives today.
Amandala is now online. You can now access Amandala's midweek and weekend issues online by logging on to our website at amandala.com.bz/news and joining our membership portal today. There's 5 easy steps to get unlimited access to weekly e-paper, archive publications, and a host of other exclusive contents. Number 1, go to Amandala's website. Number 2, navigate to subscribed areas. Number 3, choose a membership level. level. Number 4, check out using our secured portal. Number 5, log into the members only section. Telephone numbers 501-280-4703 or 202-4477. Fax us at 501-222-4702, or you could email at amandalapress@yahoo.com or amandalapress@gmail.com. Amandala, all power to the people.
Whether you are a busy person or stuck in traffic or having an adverse or very demanding circumstance, tension builds up, causing you to be stressed out. Stress attacks everyone, anytime, any age. And stress is a killer. Palm City? It's best to be alive than dead. So visit Freetown Drugstore to get options to relieve stress and to relax your mind.
Yes, sir. What can I do for you today?
I'm so stressed out.
Okay, I'm saying I help you right now. When I this daily, for 10 days, I am good after that, okay?
Okay.
Freetown Drugstore, 28 Freetown Road, where you are better off alive than dead. Freetown Drugstore, telephone 223-2876.
Vibes. This is our last segment. The phone number is 280-5848. You could call and talk about anything we want to talk about. You could also go to XTV Belize Facebook page, because you could tune in to, and it started about an hour ago at 7:30. The ICJ want to deliver a judgment on Guatemala's application for permission to intervene in the case concerning sovereignty over the Sapodilla Keys. So the judgment, the ruling not come down yet, but then the reason about it, then start about 7:30 this morning. So you can go to XTV Belize Facebook page for listening. If the ruling come in before 9 o'clock, and get a call so we could reason about it. Earlier this morning, the president of the Public Service Union called in, and I really would have wanted Brother Dean Flowers call back if you have one chance right now, because that conversation we need to have it publicly. And I know, I hear what you say, but to me that like it is stuck out at the two sides of your mouth. Because in essence, in principle, trade unionists have one responsibility for being solidarity with workers, whether they're union members or not. That's it. At the same time, they say that as the president of the Public Service Union, as an individual, as a Belizean, as a human being, he could say how he feel about the National Trade Union Congress of Belize not showing solidarity with the Belize Communication Workers for Justice, especially like when they take one battering right now, which they want independent group of former BTL employees. And I don't know if all of them, but definitely some of them were former union members. Now, I ask him if, since the umbrella organization, Belize Trade Union Congress of Belize, to my knowledge, sent out no press release in solidarity, not come out in a large numbers for all the times when they had BCWJ had different protest action. I asked Brother Dean Flowers, who's the president of the Public Service Union, if individual unions cannot choose to collectively come out. And he say, yes, they have the independence to do it, but because they want to be in solidarity with the umbrella organization, they not do it. So to me, that's why I'm like, well, they talk about the two sides of their mouth, because they're saying, in principle, trade unionists should support workers in Belize. But out of the other side of your mouth, you say, Belize, the Public Service Union, no one step out independently from under the umbrella organization of the Belize National Trade Union Congress of Belize, because we want to be in solidarity. So then it sounds like the union feel that they have one duty, at least from the president of the Public Service Union, they have one duty for being in solidarity with the umbrella organization more so than the workers. Morning, thanks for calling WB. Talk to me. Hi, Dara. Tell me, brother. Good to hear your voice this morning.
I know your topic right now that the union, but there is a thing where they happen right now that in drugstore, I already understand.
Tell me.
No shame about it. For the past 5 years, I find out I'm diabetic, the cholesterol they high. I had to buy my medication for that for the 5 years. Now I approach the drugstore. Then tell me I need to get one prescription from a doctor. I said, for what when they are the same medication I been in the bag? No, I don't know where the help because we don't know what this design about, but you know if I go, I just can't go to a doctor and tell her that I have diabetic or I got cholesterol problem. He have sent me go do a blood test. Money. If you just see him at 75 or she at 75 and then blood test, all kind of thing. To me, like everybody, we're in an office and have position and got the education, just get up one day and come up with some craziness and not understand where people they go through on the ground, where poor people they suffer. Like they just come up with a simple idea. Cause to me, they're stupid. You understand how you want to tell one elder, one granny, or everybody where they suffer for go, we have to go get prescription now and thing. To me, then new people get in and after I think just get up one day and decide here what we are to me this is another tax or another way of how the government want get money through the health system. I just find it stupid and then I had to get rude with the lady when I never heard false. She they had all kind of paper they show me when they come with. But sister, I know there is a lot going on with union and all kind of thing. I still like every day like I have to say this government should just find a way how to frustrate the people. I just find that stupid. You understand? If you buy medication 10, 5, 15 years, where the hell I have to go see a doctor to find out again? That like I want to get any better. I have to take my medication. They have to do something about that. That's a simple idea. Whosoever comes with that, and me that they tell you that was a stupid idea. You can't explain that no other way for me. You understand? You stop come up with an idea and try to find out how another tax or how you could get money out of the people. I just find that wrong, sister. And I want to talk about it until then come with something else because I find that to be out of order. Bless up, man. I hate call frustrated, but that's how it happened to me this morning, you know. Bless up.
Respect, Brother Dara, and I appreciate it. No matter what we talk about, yeah, when the people in call, whatever the people in want to talk about, that's what they talk about. So you have every right for the feel of frustration because who feel the pinch know it. That you they live it, so you they feel it, and even though you don't want one call, a lot of other Belizeans feel the same way you feel. And I hear you know. And I believe in you. At the same time, yes, brother, yes. Respect. Thanks for the call. Big respect. Good morning. Thanks for calling WB.
Good morning, Sister. It's Moose. Am I on the air?
Yes, you're on the air, Brother Moose. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know if you've reported it that the ICJ has unanimously ruled in favor of Guatemala's application to intervene in the case between Honduras and Belize on the rights and sovereignty of the Zapadilla Keys.
No, I haven't reported it. I just knew the hearing was on. So what that mean, Mose? What that mean for we that Belize?
Well, it means Belize did not offer any objections. The matter was objected to by Honduras, so all the reasons for the objections were rejected by the court based on their statutes and their view that Guatemala has an interest and a distinct interest, and that the ruling in the case between Honduras and Belize on rights and sovereignty to Zapadilla has implications for Guatemala's legal interest in their case versus Belize. And so Guatemala is application to intervene has been accepted. So to kind of, not a lawyer, but to do my best to kind of give it in layman's language. So it's like the court is saying that it doesn't see how it would be able to make a ruling on the Belize Honduras case without it impacting Guatemala's claim that it has in its case against Belize, and so it finds it legitimate and accepts that Guatemala has to be have the right of intervention, or to accept its application to have an intervention. It's like, okay, you can't have a case discussing the Zapadillas, and this is just a case specifically with the Zapadillas. This is not the full territorial claim that Guatemala has. The Honduras claim is to the Zapadillas, but it did not involve Guatemala, and the court has ruled that Guatemala it accepts it has a right to be accepted as an intervention in that case. No, so it's a favorable ruling for Guatemala. It's a win. It was a unanimous decision as expressed by the judge, and so I don't know ultimately the strategic reasons why Honduras would not have wanted Guatemala in. I suspect it's easier to fight against one than two, so maybe that is what the Hondurans were thinking. Again, we must look at the context that the Honduras claim to the Zapadillas at the ICJ, that matter came up after the Belize Guatemala case. I imagine that it might contribute to a certain level of delay, or the hearing on our matter with Guatemala has been delayed, and I can't imagine that this would help, but that's just opinion that I am giving there, sister.
Where does that leave Belize legally? In this matter, Belize had on duty for say anything legally?
I have read legal opinions to say that Belize should, they would have expected Belize to object, because to some extent they believe that it gives Guatemala kind of a opportunity to kind of get two cracks at the Zapadilla. Again, you would have to read the full judgment. I think the transcript is going to be up, and have legal people weigh in on it to see, how the court limits or protects that from being the eventuality there. But I did read a legal opinion voicing concerns about. It's like the Zapadillas will be decided twice. That's just, again, a layperson's perspective. Like the court will rule on Honduras and Belize's rights. And then, but then that is also a part of the big territorial claim between Belize and Guatemala, right? But I don't want to go further than that. I would want to have an opportunity to read the full judgment, and then, because the judge didn't read the full judgment, it was a kind of clear case where the grounds on which Honduras was objecting, every single count was rejected by the court. So it was kind of like a blowout. It was an absolute rout in favor of Guatemala.
Before you go,
in this regard, no.
Before you go, did you know that this judgment was pending, like, for today, prior to choosing the Zapadilla keys for
we were reporting. Yeah, we were reporting it. We reported it in the news, I believe, a couple of weeks ago. Even before I went down to Zapadilla's, Marisol had reported that this was coming. No, I don't know how Marisol got the information, and I'm not of the view that it was something that there was any public awareness campaign per se. No, but I know that Marisol got the information, and I know that it was shared on our news.
Big respect and big thanks that we gonna Sapodilla Keys, brother. Big thanks, because a lot of we never know about the Sapodilla Keys, never see it before. Like, big respect to choosing a location.
I think, sister, a couple of things. Just, it's like, it's, even though the ruling is not consequential as to the merit of anybody's claim. This is not like my personal view, right? It's an unpleasant feeling when somebody that is claiming half of your country in a court gets any kind of victory in that court. You understand?
Yes.
It's not a ruling that again, this is opinion. There might be those who are more learned and more observant than me might see something in it that has ramifications for the bigger case. I can't say in what I listened to just now that seems to be the case. It seems to be a clear just victory. Just, on legal grounds. Hey, we can accept your application for intervention. But any kind of victory where your opponent gets that the court where you have so much on the line makes you, well, at least speaking for myself, makes me very uncomfortable. Like it's a very uncomfortable feeling. Right?
I agree with you.
But I'm being honest, and I'm also on the matter of the Sapodilla. Yes, I said it plain out that I was on double duty down in Sapodilla. I was dealing with the fact that we were celebrating the reef and all of that, but also I knew that the Sapodilla range has now become this thing, a unique thing where you have 3 nations who are now claiming rights, sovereign rights and fishing rights, because the Honduran claim, I don't know what legal implications are to say the sovereignty as well as fishing rights. Seem to me that they're 2 different things. So it's like if you miss the sovereignty, you catch the fishing rights. Like that's what it comes across like to me, Again, I'm just a lay person in this regard, and I'm just trying to make sure that people who are listening understand that more will be, that there's need for more for this result to be discussed, and for people who are experts in this to speak on if they see implications and that. Like I don't want anybody to now forget about this ruling. No, this is just a kind of a making sure that breaking news. This has happened, right? It's a unanimous vote. They have won this application to intervene. That's it, right? Now I'm just giving my thoughts, right? Now the Sapodilla Key Range. Yes, I'm kind of surprised that the number of people who have met me since then and who are like stunned by what I put out, like I knew that enough people have not visited the Sapodilla, have never experienced it. Or I also knew that you would have a number of people who have no idea what it constitutes, what makes it kind of such a place, right? But I did not know that it would have been so. Of course, this is not a scientific. I'm just saying that everywhere I've gone since returning from the Sapodilla, it's like everybody wants to talk to me about how surprised they are about how beautiful it is, and like how they had no idea. And if you read comments on the multiple posts that I have put up on social media, you will see some of that. You will see to that effect, and people wanting to find out how they could get there. And I have to be honest, I'm kind of surprised about this, just how widespread the kind of how very little people know about the Sapodilla, and as I have confessed, Sister YaYa, I visited there for the first time in my 40s. So as much as I traveled across the Atlantic Ocean before I went to the Sapodilla. Just imagine that, right? For somebody who loves the sea, I didn't get to the Saps until pretty much the latter part of my life, and so I get it, and I hope that more people now understand that every aspect of this now, you know, yes, the territorial, the fact that we should be very uncomfortable with the fact that the people who have taken and who organized and who have endorsed and who have been all about getting to the ICJ were not, it would seem like to me, either by intent or by the fact that they did not see it coming, Honduras coming to the ICJ. So if they knew, then if they knew and they anticipated that and they did not tell us, then they were utterly dishonest. And if they did not see it coming, then they were utterly incompetent. In either case, it's a bad situation. I believe the only person who has brought up the matter before the ICJ about Honduras' claim would be Ms. Sandra Correa. So the fact that the choreographers of the dance at the ICJ did not have this as kind of, hey, listen, when we get there, very likely Honduras will come, but we are ready for that as well. Like that is to have been expected on their behalf to put that on the record. So again, if they knew and they didn't do it, then that's completely terrible, you know.
Big thanks, Mose. I appreciate the calling and the sharing.
And before I go, Sister, just to say, please, to our listeners and viewers, like there is going to be more unpacking of this in the days to come, or news team and media and our conversations and legal people. This is the first. Where I say, this is the first real live fire at the ICJ. Even though we were not in the meat of the action, it still has a lot to do with us, about us, and implications for us. So this is a real thing now. This is not pending anymore. It's happening now. It was kind of, I watched this, I don't know how many people watched it, but I was watching it, and I can tell you, like, I can't imagine how, if I am still breathing when the ICJ makes a ruling, I can't imagine how I'm going to feel inside of my stomach to sit down and wait for some judge to tell me whether or not I still have a right to go south of the Sibun. That will be, oh my goodness, this matter is small in comparison to that, and I was still a bit nervous.
Real talk, brother. Big thanks for this breaking news. Appreciate you.
Respect, yeah, man.
One love. Break time.
The Belize Tax Service has been serving the country well since its inception. But like many tax administration systems worldwide, it faces new challenges that require modern solutions. The Semi-Autonomous Revenue Authority, SARA, will be established by legislation that will modernize how Belize administers taxes. Countries across our region, Jamaica, Barbados, and Guyana, have undertaken similar efforts at modernization, and we're using their experiences, successes, and challenges to design a SARA specific to our tax landscape. SARA will operate under the Ministry of Finance with an advisory board comprised of experts in finance, tax, law, and public administration who will provide sound guidance while maintaining the required oversight of public funds. SARA will provide the framework for modernizing tax administration, improving the way we serve taxpayers, and supporting Belize's development. A semi-autonomous revenue authority, SARA, will create opportunities for improving human resource management, accelerating digital transformation that reduces turnaround time and paperwork, and providing more responsive customer service while maintaining strict accountability standards. SARA, a progressive tax administration for a modern Belize.
Smart for everybody. Smart leading everything. Smart give you everything. Smart offer everything. Smart give you everything. North to the east and the south and the west. Smart are the best. Darling, double up my data and give me all the text. In fact, give me a plan for my family. Unlimited calls, so me like it. And Smart make everybody feel happy. Bringing people together, me want it now. Smart got love for everybody. Me want my Smart plan. Want it right now. Me want my Smart plan. Want it right now. More bundles, data plan. Me want my smartphone, internet in my hand. Call me want my Smart plan. Want it right now. Smart. Stay connected. Stay happy.
En Atlantic Bank, tu comodidad es nuestra prioridad. Nuestro centro de contacto está diseñado para mejorar tu experiencia bancaria. Con una amplia gama de opciones de servicio al cliente, ahorras tiempo y esfuerzo. Puedes llamar fácilmente para bloquear o desbloquear tus tarjetas de débito y crédito, realizar consultas de cuentas y acceder a información detallada de tus tarjetas. Ya sea que necesites asistencia con la banca en línea, apoyo para comercios o consultas generales, nuestro equipo está listo para ayudarte. Para mayor comodidad, si todos los operadores están ocupados, puedes dejar tu número y un operador te devolverá la llamada lo antes posible para asegurarse de que recibas el apoyo que necesitas. Para mayor seguridad, es posible que necesitemos verificar tu identidad con un conjunto de preguntas sencillas. Recuerda, Atlantic Bank nunca solicitará tu nombre de tu usuario ni contraseña de Atlantic Online por llamada telefónica, mensaje de texto o correo electrónico, asegurando que tu información personal permanezca segura y protegida. Nuestro equipo de apoyo está disponible de lunes a viernes, de 8 a.m. a 6 p.m., en inglés y en español. Simplemente marca al 223-1212. Esta es la línea dedicada para nuestro centro de contacto. Atlantic Bank se compromete a brindarte un servicio excepcional y las herramientas que necesitas para administrar tus finanzas de manera conveniente y segura. Aprovecha al máximo nuestro servicio del centro de contacto.
Atlantic Bank, building the future together.
Project, big or small, Best Screws provide strength, efficiency, durability, and affordability. Get the screws specifically designed for your next project. Get Best Screws, the power to build, the strength to last. Available at Benny's, quality and savings.
back to Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes. Time to shut the shop. Thanks everybody who call, stream, listen. We appreciate share the link, XTV Belize YouTube and Facebook, share the link. And this show on repeat at 3:30 today on XTV on the local channel. And security guard when I came in, okay, what is security guard name? When I come in 6 o'clock. And then I'm sure Shane Flowers is there now. Christy, what the guard name before Shane? Who was it? I can't hear you. Krista Flowers is the MCO Technical Director. Brother Cliff Lewis is the Senior Technical Director. Downstairs at Creme Radio, we have Larry G, known as Larry Guerrero. Again, thanks Belizeans for choosing XTV. And health and strength, I should be back here tomorrow morning sitting in for Brother Noor Mohammed. Remember, on the organized people and save the people.
Keep moving, na 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 na. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Everybody gotta put their time in. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Voice of opinion and place your calling. WB. Get up, make every day count. Don't waste it, people. Do your part, play around, get where you need to. You can tune in for work or in your vehicle. If you got a problem, pick up the phone. Why wait till the time calling? It's not so it no matter even if you're at home. Just call in. WB.